Ronda Rousey dropping some shade on MMA fans and the media because she says they too easily throw away their favorite fighters after they lose. You mean like how we all threw away the entire sport of boxing when MMA came along? Fallout from the firing of head coach Brian Kelly at LSU continues. Apparently, Governor Jeff Landis of Louisiana has been in a heated battle with athletic director Scott Woodward. The governor of Louisiana getting involved in the college football program. You know, Governor Jeff Landis is really showing us that he has nothing on his to-do list. The Dodgers head to Toronto for Game 6 of the World Series, down 3-2 against the Blue Jays. Yes, and in case any of you just started watching baseball during Game 3, they don't usually play the games back-to-back like that. No. By hitting that like button and subscribe button, you will get all of our picks here. You'll never miss an episode. Lots of people are doing it now. It's starting to snowball. I can see the momentum. And I want to thank you guys all for your likes, your subscribes, your views. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the comments. We're having fun, all of us. Yeah. The Dodgers head to Toronto, looking to extend the series to Game 7. If they trick or treat and hit candy, we'll be getting Game 7 on Saturday. That will be exciting. How are you guys doing out there? I hope you guys had fun watching last week's games. 6-0 on the winners. You can't do much better than that. We picked the Jets to win in the unofficial pick. We picked the Dolphins to beat the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, that was the gem of the week. And we've got a whole slate of games here, including one baseball game. We're going to actually pick the World Series. By the way, the trade deadline is November 4th. It's coming up fast. All you teams that need quarterbacks, you need to fill a couple of slots. Maybe you need a wide receiver. The Giants ought to look at some running backs. All right. I think that's it. Let's just get to the picks, you guys. Okay, let's get down to my favorite part of the show. Let's get down to business. This is the 6 picks for the week, and we're going to start off with the gem. Yes, I identified one game which has the potential to be the gem, the hidden jewel in the rough. And it looks like it's going to be the 49ers at Giants. Yes, the 49ers head to New Jersey to face the Giants. Look, you can make $130 off of a 100 by picking the Giants for the money line. The 49ers are 2.5 point favorites. I'm going to go with the Giants winning 25-19. The Giants winning outright, 25-19. That means we're going to go with the under because they're giving us 48.5 on that one, on the OU. The next game, Sunday at 10 a.m. as well. It's going to be the Colts at Steelers. This is going to be a shootout. I believe it's going to be an over on the OU. We're going to pick the over. They've won 4 straight games since they lost to the Rams. The Colts have. The Steelers lost to Green Bay in their last game. They're not going to rebound this week. The Colts are too strong at 7-1. Looking for the Colts to win 34-26, and they'll cover. Next game is going to be the Chiefs at Bills. Of course, this is the highlight game of the week, I think, in all NFL circles. Sunday at 1:25 p.m. here in Pacific. That's going to be 4:25 in the East. They're not going to cover. The Bills are going to win. I predict the Bills are going to win. But they're not going to cover. They're 2.5 point favorites. It's going to be a 2-point game, 30-28. Bills over the Chiefs. That's the over because they're giving us 48.5 on the OU. The next game, Cardinals are facing the Cowboys. This is an interesting game. Kyler Murray coming off of an injury. Looks like he's going to play. The Cowboys are 2.5 favorites. If you bet the Cardinals, you'll get $125 on your $100 bet. It's not really that big of an upswing for betting for the Cardinals, and for that reason, I'm going to pick the Cowboys. Now, before I tell you the score, I'm aware that Kyler Murray is 9-0 at AT&T. Okay, he's 9-0 on the Cowboys' own home field. Will he extend that streak? I don't think so. I think it's time for him to finally lose it. He did play high school football there in Dallas. You know, he's real happy playing in Dallas. Don't get me wrong. But we're going to pick the Cowboys to win 32-30. That's a 2-point victory. They will not cover. The next game is going to be the Bears at the Bengals, and that is going to be, let's see. I think this is the safest bet, I think. I'm going to go with the Bears winning 35-20. That is the over because they're giving us 51 points on this one. They're looking for a shootout, maybe. The Bears are 2.5-point favorites. I think they're going to cover. They're going to win by 5. You know, they want to win. Last week they lost. This week they want to win. Last week they got beat by the Ravens, who really they were expected to win, but you know the Ravens haven't been looking so tough. Now it seems the Ravens might have turned it around. Look at that. They added another score. They're up 28-6 against the Dolphins. By the time you view this, of course, it's Friday. The game is over. This is Thursday night. I'm recording this. We're going to go 35-20, as I said. The Bears beat the Bengals. And finally, okay, we're going to pick baseball. That's right. We're going to pick the Dodgers to win Game 6 in Toronto. And it's a 1.5 point. They're a 1.5 point favorite going in. Because Yamamoto is pitching. I think that's the real reason they're the favorites. The over-under is 7.5 points. I think we're going to go to 8 points. It's going to be an over, and the Dodgers are going to cover. They're going to win by 2. Dodgers 5, Blue Jays 3, sending it to Game 7 of the World Series, which is going to be epic. All right. You guys have a great and safe Halloween, and thank you for watching, as well as placing your wagers in a responsible manner. Thank you very much again. Bet responsibly. You know, I'm really glad Ronda Rousey brought up the subject matter that she brought up about MMA fans and the media being so fickle. You know, I'm paraphrasing everything she says, but she's saying basically they're bandwagoners, they jump off. She made some pretty harsh criticisms, stating that they are, you know, overly reverent to a guy like Nurmagomedov or whatever his name is, the fighter from, you know, the Baltic states or Eastern Europe. I forget his name. I was a big fan of boxing growing up. Boxing really was the way to watch combat sports here in America. It's always been our native martial art, along with wrestling here in America. But then it disappeared. You know, it's like not really disappeared, but it got pushed to the side by MMA, by the UFC and Dana White. And not to mention Joe Rogan, right? No, but UFC took over and became the main and dominant combat sport in the world. But boxing really was fantastic. When I was a kid, 1987, 8 years old, mind you, and went to Church's Chicken, and there was a cup, and it had Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard facing off on the cup. This is the first time I had been exposed to any kind of sports endorsement in the fast food world. And it was incredible. I think I've never seen anything like it. You know, they might have had something like that when Mike Tyson faced Evander Holyfield or something. You could buy that cup on Amazon right now, by the way, the Church's Chicken Cup from 1987. And the fight was just amazing. Marvin Hagler really, you know, my dad was like, "Oh, well, you just watch this Sugar Ray. He's gonna beat Marvin Hagler." And I said, "Dad, you know, how can this guy Sugar Ray, who's smiling, dancing, happy, beat this other guy Marvin Hagler, who looks like Bigfoot? You know, he looks like Bigfoot just came out of the forest and he wants to feed on us villagers. Marvin Hagler was a bad dude. And I think he won the fight. Of course, they gave the fight a decision victory to Sugar Ray Leonard, but proving once again that Dad was always right when it came to sports. But, yeah, boxing used to be wonderful. Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, epic clash. First one ended with an ear biting, I think it was. Or maybe that was the second time they fought. I don't remember. But I know that a lot of Mike Tyson's fights ended really early. As far as Ronda Rousey's concerned, I mean, listen, I don't know what triggered her response. Was it a question somebody asked her? Why would she just come out and snap like that? I don't know. You know, it's like Michael Irvin when he did his rant. It took a podcaster saying something about him, calling him out on his name, to paraphrase, to get him to really snap and be angry. You know, the interesting stuff. But Ronda Rousey was great. I'll tell you, during that Holly Holm fight, when she finally lost, it was very interesting. I thought that Holly Holm was getting away with a little bit of, stuff you're not supposed to do, whether it was, I don't know, headbutting her while they were in the clinch, or maybe you can do that. I don't know. See, I'm a boxing fan. I don't know. Anyway, shout outs to Ronda Rousey. Nobody could drive a car from one skyscraper to another like her. She's a stunt driver, and she can beat up Vin Diesel and The Rock. Yeah, sports purity, man. You know what? Politics and sports, we had a couple of instances where it was mentioned these past couple of weeks where, like Kristi Noem was going to be at the Super Bowl, or, that ICE was going to be enforcing it. The reason why sports fans get turned off by their favorite leagues is because they introduce politics into the sports. I mean, sports really is a place to go for us who want to escape politics and all that garbage, Let's keep it pure. I want to talk about Halloween. Look, there's been a couple of memorable instances of sports accomplishments that have happened on Halloween. We'll start out with Derek Jeter becoming Mr. November, Halloween night, when he became the first player to hit a grand slam in the World Series. I know Freddie Freeman was the first. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Freddie Freeman was the first player to hit a grand slam in the World Series. Derek Jeter was I'm saying this completely wrong, and I apologize. Freddie Freeman was the first player to hit a walk-off grand slam in a World Series. But back in Game 4 of the series where the Yankees and the Diamondbacks played, I think the Diamondbacks beat them that series. I'm not sure. But Derek Jeter became Mr. November, not Mr. October like Jackson, like Reggie Jackson, I believe. But no, Mr. November, because the series was extended into November by him hitting a walk-off home run. Did that take me long enough or what? The next memorable event I want to talk about is Billy Cannon's iconic 92-yard run in 1959. I was there to give the LSU Tigers the win over Ole Miss. And finally, the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky. Yes, finally we can talk about a little bit of hockey here on the show. Wayne Gretzky for the Kings had a hat trick on Halloween night. But guess what? Kevin Stevens of the Pittsburgh Penguins also had a hat trick. They both had a hat trick. Halloween night, 1989. That was the first hat trick of Kevin Stevens' career. Can you imagine? You get your first hat trick, your first 3 goals in one game. But unfortunately, the guy playing for the other team does this on a regular basis. There's a reason they call him the Great One. And he got a hat trick as well. In case you're wondering, the Kings won that game 8-4. But those are some memorable Halloween memories of things that happened during Halloween. I don't think we have anything else here for you on the show. I mean, we've been yammering long enough, haven't we? Yeah. just remember the gym. And again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Be careful out there. Halloween, you guys take care. Be aware of people crossing the streets. Wear bright clothing, etc., etc. Don't eat too much candy.